Another morning has turned out to be extremely lousy. The smell of rot and mold haunts me everywhere. It's constantly dark, and I can barely see the outlines of the room. I hear someone walking around, but I guess I'm just hallucinating from boredom and overdose of pills. Who would have known that the previously beloved 7 Similar is now rising in the corner of the bathroom because it was poisoned by some nasty crap from the refrigerator, and for the 3rd day he can't even get up to get a pack of aspirin. My hands are still reaching for the phone, and even then it has less than 30% charge left. But I feel terrible about calling someone for help. If I died right here, would anyone even notice? However, what difference does it make whether I die now or in 48 hours? I have a feeling that if I don't personally cut myself, then in a few days I'll die of banal exhaustion. But I have nothing to use. Can Symbolars die? If anyone is interested in this pressing question, then it seems the time has come to test the theory of my sad experience. Ha ha. If these telegram notes do become posthumous. Okay, I'm not losing hope that the malaise will pass. No one has ever died from dizziness and a slight fever. Right? It's embarrassing to talk about my personal thoughts in such a place. Sorry for the drama. I just feel deep despair. You know what it's like to sit alone within 4 walls for about 2 days with a splitting headache, chills, and a desire to quickly end it all? It's scary to think about what will happen next if each hour a couple more problems are added to the bouquet of symptoms. What effing way out do I have except to sit around and wait for it to get better? I understand that the offer of suicide sounded too frank. I probably would never do it because there are no sharp objects lying around for me to use on myself. Why do I have this effing hell? There are some mild medications lying around in the cupboard, some ancient sedative from the previous owner of the apartment. It's useless for me to take them because I don't feel anything except tiredness. Apathy has awakened, fear and anxiety have been replaced by empty indifference. Maybe this is the peculiar thing of drugs mixed in blood. The feeling is like 10 cigarettes smoked. Bro, why are you such an effing depressive? Try to sit for at least 3 hours of gnawing pain, inability to sleep, and a complete lack of appetite, when the only thing you get is 5 Valium tablets and a broken magic wand. I love sick leave, as if I were taking a test in Fort Boyard and losing every time. I am not depressed. I just consider all the options for solving problems. And there are not as many as I would like. Why did they put you in this room? And most importantly, who? Nobody shoved me in. I'm in my own house. The bathroom is the only place where I can hear the music of my crazy, music-loving neighbor, who must also be an unemployed loser since he has so much time to enjoy this nightmare at full volume. I would have gone crazy much faster if I stayed in my room with this heart-rending bass. It's damp in here, but at least it's quiet. Tell your neighbor to get lost and call the cops to him. Let them find him. What a funny plan. With such luck, I would have already called an ambulance to get me out of this hole. My musician doesn't give about what's going on outside his room, but the police do. They're unlikely to attribute the carnivorous smell coming from the basement to the specific aroma of pickled cucumbers or any other excuse I come up with in a hurry when they start rummaging through the house and eventually find, metaphorically, a couple of hidden skeletons. And I'm in no condition to start squabbles with either the neighbors or the authorities. Spending the rest of the days behind bars is stupid and humiliating. Imagine the face of the targets. Symbolars in prison? What nonsense. Someday, I won't be able to stand it. And will knock on the door next door with an axe ready. I'll make that bastard listen to Funeral March for the rest of his life. I still feel like there's someone there other than the old boxes of wires. The blood's soaked into the surfaces, and I can't get it out of the wood. Are the jokes about the kids in the basement becoming more and more relevant? The pain is too sharp, not for typical poisoning. The metallic taste of blood filled his mouth, causing panic. Just don't. Fang. It's the 4th day of torment. I look like I've escaped from the clutches of medieval inquisitors. I'm pulling broken teeth out of my mouth. If earlier doubts still gave me hope that it was simply poisoned by raw meat. Now it's time to really think about the correctness of the diagnosis. Some penetrate bone cancer? Am I really dying? The problem of falling fangs has remained in the background for now, although the wound stings as if I pulled them out myself, but a new one has appeared. Despite the fact that a couple of days ago the splash of water and the barely noticeable echo from the speakers in the next room did not affect my nerves so much, the same noise after many repetitions begins to openly irritate me. The psycho has completely lost his mind if he decided that all similars are deaf by nature. I don't care about the consequences. I'll shut this bastard up with an iron crowbar! The sound behind the door became clearly vaguely reminiscent of a crudely cobbled together FL Studio reverse tape for the summoning the devil. Illegible words, a broken rhythm and constant interference, as if the audio was recorded on a Nokia dictaphone with 10 styles from the 2001 audio effects library supervised on top. If my bathroom had a window, I would have already thrown myself out of it just not to hear this. I don't mind if you sacrifice someone, just don't do it every effing day! I knocked, unsuccessfully. He won't hear me through all that noise. I'll try to knock down his effing door. Let him sort it out himself later. In the end, it wasn't the door that I knocked down, but the lock. It was easier to open. And so, apartment 02 opened. I was greeted not by a menacing neighbor, but by a loud scream, a cacophony of sounds, and a complete bedlam in the most terrible manifestation. There are tons of posters of various music groups hanging on the wall. The lamp is on and off. The faucet is leaking. And how come the owner hasn't gone broke on the bills? And the smell is like an auto parts store. Pure machine, oil, and metal. I don't mean that my place is better, but damn! It's so loud in here! The music continues to play from somewhere in the far apartment, but I have not encountered any hints of movement yet. Dadman was going through an existential crisis. In a lonely bedroom, you meet the obvious. Under the howl of tracks, I found the neighbor himself. I don't know his name. Who peacefully lays down to rest by the wall right next to the player. If it weren't for the marks and the broken display of his face, you might think that he was actually sleeping. Too bad, another corpse. All that's left to find is a way to turn off his music and throw out the body. On the table, next to the empty beer cans, there was an ID card. A pass, maybe? It only had some nonsense written on it, and oh my God! He's wearing a hat in the photo? That was wearing a hat? Let's get back to the problem of the lying body, which while I was kicking around here started to get covered in dust. 5 votes against 6! Such an interesting statistic about my audience preferences. Someone really wants to watch this show, and I'm ready to spoil them, risking the integrity of my body. The black broken screen watches my actions with silent acceptance. What if there is still consciousness in this pile of plastic and iron recorded in some binary code, and here I am, stupidly forcing it to do something it does not want? Although, the situation is not much better now, so sit and choose whether to be alive or dead. Wait, well, some purple dude is giving you a hard time. There was a cracking sound. All that's left is to pray that it was the neighbor's body parts that broke, and not YOSHKA's dick. The trash bin is where it belongs. I have about 3 hours before some random passenger discovers the body parts dumped in the bag. Maybe more if I come across a blind and tentative idiot. I still don't understand the reasons for the neighbor's death. He didn't do any dabbable drugs, didn't leave the house, drank rarely, or did he just piss off another similar? But the presence of these guys can be felt from a mile away, especially Crackty. Probably because I used to hang around his side a lot. Well, the fool didn't even hear a fuss beyond the door. Although, I still have a strong feeling that the deceased gentleman smashed his own screen into crumbs, and there was no outside forces involved. It's worse moving out here before dawn, which is sad, because I moved here in less than 2 months ago. I've barely seen the hospital's inhabitants of this anthill. It remains to figure out who to turn to so they don't take me as a complete psycho. By the way, about the psychos, I've already told you how much I love you for not informing on me. Thank you for staying with me in my paranoid delirium. Okay, and that's the end of part 1. Yay! I'm definitely gonna post part 2 soon. Also, ignore all the many embarrassing stutters and stammers that were in this. 5 votes against 6. Such an interesting statistic.